It's Dr. Mario Wallace with the Black History Scavenger Hunting. Today I am in Jackson, Mississippi at the Farish Street Historic District. And let me give you some context. Post-slavery, post-Reconstruction, in between the time of Reconstruction and Jim Crow, freed African Americans began to come together and seek self-determination by establishing communities across the country, neighborhoods and small cities established by Black folks. The Farish Historic District was one of many that was established, such as Rosewood in Florida, Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is known for Black Wall Street, Orange Mound in Memphis, Tennessee, Tollett, Arkansas, Mound Bayou in Mississippi, and the list goes on and on and on. These communities came together, the people within these communities came together and they thrived for a long time until integration or desegregation. And let me give you a little more context. So this particular district, the founding father was Walter Farish, who was an actual slave who was freed after the Civil War. He had a house established on this particular street, and from there the community began to grow. Due to Jim Crow, Blacks had to find a way to survive, a way of self-determination, and this was the community in Jackson, Mississippi, that they established. So in this particular block, and as you can see behind me, there's a lot of row houses that are being torn down and under construction now because there is a revitalization effort for this particular street. And you can see the street itself. So there were businesses, theaters, restaurants, funeral homes, just parlors. This particular street, the same as Black Wall Street, or the same as the community in Orange Mound on Corns Avenue or Park Avenue, this was a thriving, bustling community. Now, today we have this conversation about the rolling back of DEI and how Blacks need to start spending with each other and Blacks need to come together and unify. But there's some things that I think we need to have a deeper conversation of how we unify, because the Blacks during this particular era, the early 1900s to 1960, 65, leading into integration, they had the same idea and they unified. And as we see through history, we see communities, Black cities all over America that are desolate or abandoned today. And why is that? One reason is because the majority community did not want to see the success of Black communities, right? They did not want to see the success. So there was things that was taking place to peel apart the layers of the economy of these Black cities. The same way today, once we begin to unify, those same efforts will be targeted towards us the same way. Leaders assassinated because of the word of Black empowerment, the embodiment of do-it-yourself, self-determination. Those were the words that were echoed then, and those are the words that are echoed now in this highly politicized climate today. So we have to be a little more smarter on how we approach this self-determination and Black independence, because once we begin to gain a sense of independence, we will see some of the same things that they saw, and that is the pulling apart of pieces of our economy to cause the community to collapse, the same way as we are pulling back some of the initiatives today and redefining DEI and making it more of a negative than an integrative, positive meaning for the term itself. So let me give you a closer view of Farish Historic District. So downtown Farish Historic District helps us to understand that there are dual Americas. America for the majority and America for the minority. Even though we see it play out today to help to give the youth a true picture of what America has felt like for minorities post-slavery, this district is one of the most thriving communities that took place during the time of Rosewood and Black Wall Street and Orange Mound. But there's something very unique about this particular place during the time it was structured. I've seen the same flow of buildings, the same downtown avenue that splits the streets, and the buildings on the left and the right that shows us the remnants of time that has gone by. But it shows us also how we can grow a thriving community if we unify, but it also shows us when we do unify, the majority communities figure out ways to break apart what we have and lead us back to the starting block that we are experiencing today with all the mass layoffs. Lead us back to the starting block where we have to figure out a way of self-determination again. I'm standing here in downtown Jackson on the street named Farish, where all the black bustling businesses took place, and they had to because of segregation. Standing here in front of the F. Jones Corner, a bustling place that took place over 60 years ago, as well as other buildings here. And I want you to see behind me, the Alamo was the Jackson, Mississippians' Apollo, right? This is where all the acts took place. All the great movies, the great shows, all the things that you would see on Apollo in Harlem, you could have seen here. Some of the greatest actors and actresses came through here and they performed on stage, as well as cinema took place. I spoke with a young lady who's 76 years old who experienced Farish Historic District, and she talked about how she used to go there and watch Godzilla and King Kong and all the movies that I told her I saw on television in Orange Mound. But this is a theater that was once thriving. As you can see now, it's closed down, and the buildings around it are all closed. When you desegregate a community, this is the outcome that you get. But it's also the outcome that you get when unification becomes a buzzing word and people begin to unify. One thing is that unification brings forth wealth and opportunities for those who unify. But those who are on the opposite end, they look at it as a threat. So this unification that we're talking about today can actually be a threat as a perspective for the opposition. So we have to think about it, and we have to do a more deeper analysis on how do we unify today as we unified in the late 1800s all the way to 1965, when integration became a thing across the country, and forced integration took place in a lot of black communities. Although our leaders, our main leaders, were trumpeting the concept of integration, what you see here is the outcome of integration. So in closing, the Farish Historic District is one for anyone who's traveling on this side of the country to stop and walk down the district. It is 9 blocks in distance. There are a lot of historic plaques throughout the street. On one end, you will see more housing, right? And there are a lot of row houses or shotgun houses that currently are being renovated. One sister told me that each of the row houses, the investors came in and paid each family $10,000 each to sell their houses, which were decrepit and falling apart due to redlining and things that took place years ago, not being able to access funding from banks to renovate their properties. And then in the 90s, when drugs and crack cocaine took place, it led to the outcomes of the blighted housing district that we see today. But yeah, all of those row houses are being renovated as we speak. On this end, this is more downtown. This is a structure in which most of the business thrives on. But in closing, it's a great experience. I would tell anybody who's driving in this direction to actually come and walk this actual district, to feel the presence of those who once lived here and those who worked this district, to feel the wealth and richness of a community and become great as we once were and as we are, independently and collectively.